Hi, and welcome to our 5th episode. Today we're talking about Tisane health benefits. Last episode was tea health benefits. So on the other side of the coin, it's Tisane health benefits. So grab your Tisane first and join us. Hi Joyce.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. Today's a little off today.
The light is dark again. We're doing this at night.
Doing it at night. It's super overcast because we're supposed to be hit with another huge storm tonight. Wow. And so I'm having a nice warm cup of Tisane.
Tisane.
And you got Tisane too in front of you?
I do because it's evening time. I already had my matcha. So I can't do another black tea or green tea because I'm very sensitive to caffeine. So I'm doing Tisane. And this is one of the comfort blend that I usually like to do in a cold wintry day like this. And actually it's something that I meant to put on the menu, but I kept it secret to myself for a few years because we already have a lot of things that we offer.
We have too many things.
Yes. Actually that's...
Oh,
it's for the secret. What's the secret?
So the secret is that we are streamlining.
Right.
We have 10-year anniversary.
That's the non-secret part I was
That's
going to say.
non-secret.
The non-secret is that we are going on our 10-year anniversary. And it's going to be, it is big for us. Yeah, I'm trying to entice my parents to come back here because they came here when I first opened just the first year. And now I want them to come back. So I want to do a bigger celebration, but I don't know if they're going to make it, but I'm going to try to push them to come. But with that 10 years, we have a few plans.
Yep. Before we get into the plans, promise your dad that we won't lock him inside the tea shop again.
That was a good one.
So we, as a family, are like, okay, let's go to Cafe Calabria and grab something to eat for dinner time. You know, we have the whole reservation. My parents, your parents, the whole family, and we sit down at the restaurant. We look around. Where's your dad? I don't know. We somehow lost him.
I think he was in the bathroom. And we even had one floor. Right. For the shop, we didn't even have two story yet.
And so the deadbolt is you need a key on the inside and on the outside to get in and out, so we locked him literally inside. So he sat down in the dark, so I think I went back and I was like, oh, you're still here? It's like, yeah, everybody left. So I was like,
what are you doing? He said, I just look around, I just look at what you have on the wall in the dark.
So promise him that we won't do that again.
Yeah, we have to do a round check before we left the building. But true. Between like us 5, our family, my brother, his wife, and then my dad, talking about 9 people. So it's easy to lose track, so I have to use like a early childhood strategy with a teacher, always do the head count, right?
Yep. So in one of the things that we're going to be doing is streamlining our menus, and we really want to focus on our, on those that aren't going to disappoint the customers the most. So we're probably we'll be launching a survey, so that way everybody can kind of vote on. So it's not all products across the board are going to get streamlined, but there's some that are going to be streamlined, and we just want to make sure we're going to be surveying because we also want to enhance parts of the menu too that we haven't had to explore, just like your comfort drink.
There's
Is that going to make it on the board this time?
Well,
didn't think of it. Yeah.
Well, no, we didn't think about it, but we already have a lot of latte that is kind of like a must-have. Bestseller, Kai Chai, Earl Grey, London Fog. So turmeric, that's what I actually having. Turmeric milk is, I use vanilla chai, ginger, and turmeric. And I actually think of this like even a couple years back. Customer already asked for it too when turmeric milk is kind of like start to come out popular. And it's just that we already have so many menu. We already have our seasonal. That time we had Crossgate too, so we just didn't think about I would put it out, but again it's involved a lot more just putting a drink out because I need to create flyers, we need to train the staff, how to do it, so that they can do it the same way that I make it, and the recipe is not just like left and right. So I just, it's just something that, we didn't put out. And actually there's a lot more drinks too that we have in a poster but didn't make it out in each year, because like summertime comes, we have so many other things going on too, with like, fruity stuff. During COVID, we have a lot of like homegrown herb.
Yeah.
And we back down to one store, we have mulberry tree growing at home, we have basil, we have different things that we grow and harvest ourselves. And I remember during COVID, we have like in the summer, we have many homegrown version that it didn't even make it back on the menu last year, but there's some customers definitely love having those too. So we are going to streamline a few things on the menu and see what stick. And I'm sure, everything is a good seller, unfortunately, but one is better than the other. So we probably let go of something, but then not like totally let go, but bring it back even on a seasonal level.
Yep.
But those that stay on the menu board is something that always sell.
It's things that we want to highlight.
Right, right.
Yeah, I know we've counted the number of teas. We have more than 150 teas. It's like
Right.
163 last time I checked. But we never counted the number of drinks that we have too.
No.
So, but
Yeah.
there's a lot.
There's a secret though.
Okay.
So even if we pull it off the menu, we have tea in house, we have ingredients in house.
Right.
You can always ask.
Right.
So, I have somebody that asks for sherry aroma in winter or
Kicking
summer.
in Caribbean.
Even like this turmeric milk,
Mhm.
if I'm there, or some experienced staff that have been working with us for a few years, they can do something custom
And the pumpkin,
for you.
Yeah, the pumpkin chai with the pumpkin puree. Usually we still have that. Not right now, but
Right, right.
outside the season, a couple months.
Yeah, so if we have ingredients, we can sure make it for you.
Mhm.
You don't have to stick with what we have, but what we already offer is a lot. So
Yeah.
sometimes it's help with the visual. But again, if you have a diehard on, even like right now, we have Irish flag going, which is basically Thai tea with milk. So it's a combination of like Kyoto matcha latte and Thai tea. So 2 drinks in one. So it's create a layer of like orange, white, and green.
Since I'm not
Technically, you can ask that year round.
Sure.
Because we have ingredients. It's just like we just put it out right now because it's,
Right.
for March,
Right.
St. Patrick Day.
Exactly.
So,
right.
yeah.
So you're so it's more than just golden milk that you're drinking. It's not just turmeric and milk. You said chai?
Yeah, so I know that a lot of places just do turmeric powder with milk, simple as that. But I like different spice in it more, and vanilla chai, rooibos that we have, again, is rooibos based, so there's no caffeine. And, turmeric and ginger are kind of like close family. There's a kick that is similar, but turmeric also has a strong aroma to it, where if it's just turmeric alone, it can taste like dirt. It's good. It's, the color is there, but it can be offset a little bit. And me, I'm Thai, right? My cooking is always about balance. So I think like to soften up that dirt smell of turmeric, especially because it's turmeric powder. If you do like fresh turmeric, anything fresh, we talk about that during like second episode about Tisanes of like hibiscus. It is different between the fresh and the dry. So with turmeric, ginger, if it's fresh, it's great, right? But in the dry one, sometimes the smells change a little bit. So I feel like the dry turmeric many times come across to me, at least just me, like kind of like a sand dirt type. So I don't want that to just be the only ingredients in the drinks. So I bring in some ginger to kind of like soften that up, because ginger gives similar spice like turmeric. And I like other spice like cinnamon and stuff like that, so I bring in the chai. So I combine all those three, together. And I can't drink whole milk too much. It's funny, I can have half and half, I can have cream, I can have condensed milk, I just cannot do fresh milk very well. So I just throw in almond milk. And I used to drink this with honey. I don't even do sweet from honey anymore. I just do those spice and then splash of almond milk.
So that's the explanation why when I ordered a turmeric latte, and you just said, "Oh, that's just powder." I didn't understand exactly what you meant, but you like to, so like you said, the big secret here is soften it up with some chai spices. So I have it written down, but you know, you did mention about chai spices.
What are you drinking? You didn't tell me yet.
No, we're still. I guess we're still on you,
Okay.
honestly. So you got cinnamon, you got clove, you got cardamom, and you got ginger.
Yeah.
And that's what makes chai.
The basic masala spice.
Masala spice is actually more specific because here when we say chai, we think of that, like we think of that combination with a black tea made into a latte is chai.
Right.
Now, there's actually I won't get too nerdy into the epidemiology of the of the whole history of it all, but so masala chai and the masala spice is really those spicy notes, and cha, so masala chai means tea in India, so it's really masala is again what the word that's focusing on those spices. And all those are a part of the Ayurvedic system, the Indian system of medicine, Ayurveda. Now, hopefully, we won't spill the beans on maybe a guest speaker that we might have down the road that can get a little bit more into Ayurveda. But you know, there is still some, because that is the oldest traditional system of medicine known to the world. But it is backed by Western research, medicinal research as well. You know, so like cinnamon, you know, Aunt Alice, she puts in cinnamon whenever she can put in cinnamon, that and garlic. But cinnamon, you know, by lowering blood sugar, you know, is what that is known for. And then cardamom, just kind of like an overall spice. And then clove, good for digestion, metabolism, and even reducing gas. So you got that within your digestive system.
That's why it's good as like an after meal drink too, in a way. You know, kind of soothing and calming the stomach. If you just have like heavy meal, I mean, this is something that I like to drink after that type of, you know, meal too.
Right. Sometimes you think of it as a heavy cup, but it doesn't have to be, especially if you just drink it with like an almond milk and no sugar, or the vanilla chai rooibos.
Even just straight up without milk,
right.
That would do too.
Vanilla chai rooibos you can have definitely straight. But the powerhouse of this whole masala chai is ginger. Right.
Cardamom.
Well, no, but ginger with the health benefits, you know, and that flavor of ginger is kind of like the overall. You know, it's the clove and the cardamom and the cinnamon. That it doesn't enhance, it just it accompanies the ginger, and the ginger is certainly well known for its digestive aid as well.
I like cardamom in here a lot, but a lot of time cardamom is one of the expensive ingredients, especially cardamom pods or even cardamom seed itself. But I like cardamom a lot in terms of like it has a spice similar to ginger, but it's also have that floral notes to it. So it's like floral and spice at the same time. You know, it kind of like soften up the spice edge. So that's something I like too. I used to have a customer that would come in and order hot tea from the wall. Always ask me to crush the cardamom. So I come with my like a little mortar and pestle and crush the cardamom and throw it on those plants. Just add a little hint of like spice notes and the floral notes to it. So that's actually really, really, really good. So yeah.
And then lastly with ginger, not only does it just calm the stomach down, but it also known to reduce inflammation in the joints. So we all know about inflammation and how that's a problematic thing, but ginger is also known to reduce that.
Yeah, so that's all good stuff in this cup that I have. Actually, one more example, like one of the team member went through a surgery on her knee, and you know, I was mixing something like this. I think during that time I gave her some similar to these ingredients with some turmeric rub in it too, because I use the turmeric powder. I would use turmeric roots, but a lot of time it stain my infuser. So that's the challenge of using turmeric. You know, we have a root, turmeric shove up root, But the problem is it's staying up. The gravity maker that's made of plastic. It doesn't stain grass, but it's staying the gravity maker pretty good. So sometimes like I opt that out and I use turmeric powder. So after I steep the loose tea, not tea, I caught myself. After I steep like vanilla chai, rooibos, or different things like this, and I would just use turmeric powder on top of that, and I add in later instead of like with my brew.
Okay. Well, with that, after this break, we're going to go and talk about what's in this red beverage. And you can guess before we come back.
Okay, welcome back. So we talk about my drinks here. What is your drink?
Okay, so as I alluded to, it's very brightly colored red.
Very red, so I can guess.
It can only be one thing.
Hibiscus. No, well, we don't carry that, but I could say that beetroot would do that too. But I know that we don't have blends many blends. We have some blends that have beetroots, but I know that very few we have beetroots, and you don't like beetroot very much.
No, I do.
You do?
I don't mind beetroots.
Uh-huh.
It I was eating some boiled beets when we were doing like a little co-op thing, and made me freak out a little bit, after you go to the bathroom. But yeah, we have the almond crisp has beetroot in it, and it does have a nice hue, and you can make a latte out of it, which is kind of a little different, but it can work. So this is hibiscus, like and I would say that hibiscus is really well known for its health benefits. And I know what customers sometimes mentioned that their doctors ask them to have hibiscus for. Do you have an idea?
I have hibiscus when I have UTI.
Right. So I'm glad you
But I
actually
don't
brought
know
that
what
up.
other thing. But that's like once in a while. I don't always have UTI, but once in a while it happens. Every couple of years, 2-3 years, especially after a long trip to Thailand or coming back from Thailand here, because I would, hole and not go to the bathroom, and then in a week or two it kind of hit me. So,
and I know, yeah. So I would say that I'm glad you mentioned that, because I didn't have that in my notes. And I thought it was a thing because I always tie the color to cranberry juice, right? And you always say that it's like unsweetened cranberry juice. That's what I refer to hibiscus as. And so cranberry juice too has that health benefit of clearing out a UTI or assisting with that if you're suffering with that. Hibiscus too is in that realm.
yeah.
What I have heard from customers and from healthcare professionals is that it's good for lowering blood pressure, actually. And it's too bad too about the term tea. So the first 2 episodes and this whole educational series is really pulling out what is tea, what isn't tea, the different styles and types of tea, and there's different styles and types of not tea. But if you sometimes get a generic piece of paper, you've been diagnosed with this disease, you shouldn't have tea. Yeah, and that's sometimes just too generic,
Right.
or it just gets lumped in because maybe it's because of the, we talked about not gallstones but kidney stones, and sometimes you shouldn't have tea because you had kidney stones before. But there's a lot of things that some people think of tea as not really tea, and this isn't a tea, but they might misname it and say, you should have hibiscus tea. Where again, hibiscus is known to lower blood sugar, and that's something very, very specific. And some people could refer to it as a tea, but it's not a tea.
I think not the problem, but like the word tea is used as the type of beverage that is tea.
Right.
We used when I grew up, I remember having like two brand of like detergent, and another one is example of like soya sauce, and then like if Fab, right, it's called Fab.
Okay.
I'm not sure they have this in America, but it's like if someone say bring Fab, being Fab, like people would think that just bring detergent. So the word fat is used for detergent. Just so the same thing like soy sauce. We have a popular brand called Maggie, right? And if someone said bring Maggie, bring Maggie, bring Maggie, they mean they want soy sauce, even though the other household or you might not use Maggie brand. But what they mean is bring Maggie, which is soy sauce. So I just feel like the tea, if it's not coffee, but it's something that you steep with water, it's lighter, it has like a thin flavor profile. It's like, hot water steep with something, they call it as tea.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, because we have that in America too, like Kleenex. Kleenex is a brand.
There you go. Yeah.
But it's a facial tissue, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And you could say, can you hand me a Kleenex? But it's not.
Even though it's not Kleenex brand,
right.
The person who listens knows what to hand to you.
I mean, obviously the market can be like, no, I said a Kleenex, not this Price Chopper brand facial tissue. Right.
Yeah, but sometimes the popular brand kind of like sticks in people's mind. So that's the same thing. Like tea, this is a beverage where it's like you steep with the water.
It's in a tea bag.
In a tea bag, so it's basically tea. Right. Which, many times, I mean, it is okay to say, we're not that type of the tea snob who say, nope, you are wrong. Right. Because it's also mean, like, the word is used as a type of drink overall that you steep with water.
Yeah. So I am drinking the hibiscus, which is unsweetened cranberry juice, however.
It looked cloudy, so I know it's not.
You've got good observation skills.
It's not, because hibiscus, like, if you say it's like cranberry juice, it's clear.
Yes.
Clear red.
Yep. So it's not just hibiscus. It is our black and blue blend, which is blackberries and raspberries and blueberries and elderberries and all different kinds of berries. But the cloudiness probably comes from ginger. So now we're actually getting into this almost like a sorrel, if you will. So the sorrel from Jamaica is usually a hibiscus with a ginger. And then I added a little mint to this too, kind of give like a little refreshing finish. And so it's tart, it's spicy. And I had this yesterday too, and it almost reminded me of a blend that we had called Cherry Bomb, which had actually it was cherry flavored rooibos with
pepper,
with chilies. Yeah,
yes, red pepper
in it. So yesterday I put 2 teaspoons of ginger in this, and so it was pretty spicy.
I did. I remember this week reminded me of one blend that we were gonna put out, and again, of course, there's always new idea, new drinks. But we had a lot of hibiscus at some point. I was thinking to do hibiscus and ginger with the pineapple juice as a crab drinks in the summer. Actually, I even taste the recipe. I loved it, and again, it get lost with it because when summertime comes, we have watermelon madness. We have like all different like fun drinks that is fancy looking. But yeah, I bought like a pineapple juice to try it out, and I was so close to put it out, but then there's so many things already that we already had, so I didn't put it out. But that's a good one too, with a little fruit juice. Absolutely, and I'm glad we didn't get off of hibiscus yet, because there's still a lot more to talk about hibiscus. So it is very high in vitamin C, and what made me think of it, not only your juice combination, but also the fact of how it's hot today. Usually I have this iced with a little spritzer on top, but and maybe a little lime juice too. But I had it hot because of the weather, and so it's high in vitamin C and also high in beta carotene. So it's very, very healthy, and it tart like unsweetened cranberry juice, but add a little sugar or a little of that juice to it, and it does come across more like a juice. So it's really full body, and although it's clear, it's a very strong mouthful. So you do have to be careful with the amount that you put in and steeping it for only 7 minutes, because it can be really, really tart. It gets sour, but I wouldn't say that it would be tart much after 7-10 minutes though. You might still get a red color. The color will still come out. I mean, that's just my experience when I brew hibiscus second steeping. I don't usually get like that deep sour from it anymore because it's all come out on the first round, pretty much.
That's true. It's not something I can kind of re-steep long.
Right.
I think sometimes there's some negative flavors. Well, maybe it's more the black and blue too, and some of the blends of hibiscus. Sometimes if you steep it, that's it. When you reinfuse teas. Sorry, when you reinfuse hibiscus Tisanes and it's a blend, the hibiscus drops out and then you get all the other
Something
flavors
else.
that kind of come in,
Yeah.
and then that can be a good experience, or sometimes it can be like an off-balance experience. Yep, that's true.
So you use what? You use black and blue? Or
Yep.
like a kind of mixed berry
Yep.
with
So this
hibiscus
is
base?
16 ounces. So I doubled the amount of of a typical serving. So I use 3 teaspoons of of the black and blue. I use 1 teaspoon of ginger heaping, and 1 teaspoon of mint, and then I even threw some anise in there just for the heck of it because I like anise. I like the licoricey flavor. But we talked enough about ginger that's in this cup for health benefits, right? Anything else you wanted to add on that? And then there's mint.
Yeah.
So the mint, it's actually interesting because there's the question between peppermint. We have in-house peppermint and we have spearmint. And then there's when you grow mint, and everybody should grow mint because it's just an instant. It's a fun thing to have in the yard, honestly. Whenever I'm doing yard work and I'm by the mint pot, I'll just go out and grab some mint and eat on that, chew on that. And maybe if the mulberries are out, I'll grab some mulberries off the tree and have some mint
And there's
mulberries.
different kinds too. At
There's a
some
lot.
point you bought chocolate mint.
Chocolate mint, yeah, that was good, but it died out. But
Yeah.
menthol is what gives us the health benefits from mint. And I didn't know this, but peppermint, it has the most menthol in it. And peppermint is actually a hybrid between spearmint and wintermint. So those were the two, that's the mama and the papa, and combined to peppermint. And most mints have menthol. I don't know about the different rates, but peppermint is known mostly for having the most menthol. And menthol has the high vitamin A, good for the throat, and also good for digestion too.
You know what I realized? Hearing you talk all about this, this is March, mid-March. By the time that this is going, you are at a flower show talking more about herbal. So if anyone is at the Flower and Garden Show at Hudson Valley, in a couple weeks, on March 25th, right around that weekend.
This will be coming out the Saturday before my tea talk on Sunday.
Oh, there you go.
So I guess this is a big plug.
Yes. So if you're in the area, check out Garden and Flower Show at Hudson Valley, and you'll see Matt. I think your tea talk scheduled around 11 on Sunday.
DIY
Herbal
Tisanes from your garden.
There you go. There's always a topic. You had that presentation every year, and we've been going to that show for very long time, 7-8 years.
7-8 years. So in the guide it says herbal teas from your garden. But if anybody's watching out there, walk in there and say, "Oh, I'm sorry. Shouldn't this be named herbal Tisanes from your garden?" And I'll give you extra credit for the class.
There you go. There'll be some tasting too.
Yep.
There's some tasting.
Tastings, and then it does get a little crazy at the garden show. After I get back to the table, I always feel bad because people will see me at the presentation, and then they'll come back to the table, and then we're just like mobbed with people, and then I just kind of like wave to them, and that's about it. So come to the table before the meeting, before the seminar, and then come to the seminar, and we'll be there all weekend long.
Yeah.
Good plug. So the other Tisanes, we should have talked about this in the beginning, but Tisanes is broken into a few categories, and we talked about fruits, and the big cut of fruits is those with hibiscus in it and those without hibiscus in it, and we think we kind of got that covered. And then we started talking about some of the herbs, and herbs being mint and lemon verbena, and a lot of this stuff is when you steep it, the health benefits just aren't really coming out as strong as if you were eating them. But there is another big component of health benefits that do come from flowers. And one of those is certainly chamomile, because at Short and Stout, we really focus in on what makes you feel good. You know, it's not about what's hidden in between and detoxing, which you can't really measure and feel in your body, but we certainly know that chamomile is something that makes you feel relaxed, right?
I have testimonial.
Okay.
I think I was gonna put that out a couple of weeks ago, and you stopped me. Save this for Tisanes session.
Here we are.
We got two. I got two.
Okay.
So like my friend came over, and I, you know, like that's when a long time ago when we first started business, and of course he got something with chamomile, and as an ingredient, it's not even full strength chamomile. And then she called me back the next day. She's like, "Wow, what tea did you give me last night?" It was like, I slept so well. So I was like, "Oh, it's chamomile citrus, actually."
Gotta love those blind taste tests.
Yeah, and then the fun one is my own daughter. That's happened recently. So we had some like, I didn't do chamomile, it was chrysanthemum. Because like one of the daughter loved chrysanthemum so much. Thai chrysanthemum though. There's different chrysanthemum out there for some. There's a big yellow flower. There's white, the big white ones. There's a wild harvest, the small, and then so there's a, you know, the Thai version that she had it in Thailand and she loved. So I bought a few things back for her, and so I brew it at night. Lo and behold, that night she didn't have it, right? So what did I do in the morning? Because my oldest one would take tea every day, or tisane every day. Not tisane, mostly tea, to school. And I guess that I never think of the caffeine content or what they would do, you know, to you. I just want to keep her hydrated, because she doesn't drink water like her sister. Like the other two would bring in like a big jug of water with ice every day. So my oldest one never bring like water to school, but she would drink tea. I use them. I used to give them a smaller tumbler since elementary school, and now that she grew older, she upgraded to the 16 ounces. So she, you know, of course, to save me the time, right? Because the school bus picked them up at like 6:30. We wake up since like 5:30, 6 o'clock, preparing their day to school. So shortcut, right? What did I do? I put that tea in the microwave and heat it up for her. Not tea, tisane. And so she texts me, not even wait to come and talk to me at the end of the day. She texts me, she's like, "What tea did you give me next time? Can you make sure you give me something, you know, with the caffeine?" Because of obviously that chrysanthemum have the similar effect like chamomile, which is like make her sleepy and not, you know, pick me up kind of thing. So it's a wrong types of tea or tisane at the wrong time. I mean, it would have worked for the night one, but not during the day when you try to look for something that pick me up. And I didn't realize, you know, like what I've been giving to her. Like I said, I didn't think about caffeine content of what I gave her. Sometimes I gave her green tea base. Sometimes I gave her like fruit or even like hibiscus. She never complained when I gave her hibiscus base. But that very day that I gave her chrysanthemum, she called it out. So obviously you can't deny that there's that health benefit or the property that it does to your body.
Right, absolutely. Yeah, and another thing, shout out to Aunt Alice again, is that when she was young, they would give her chamomile whenever she had an upset stomach. So that would also reduce bloating and if you're a little gassy, I guess. That is, so that's interesting that, yeah, super good sleep aid, you know, all the old wives' tale is legit, but also, you know, reducing that has like an antispasmodic too. One thing that we have in the tea shop, so our chamomile actually isn't under our sleepy tea either, sleep tight. So it's our...
Well, sleep tight. So there's the chamomile is not the only thing that gives you relaxation. Chrysanthemum is one. Valerian is another one. The reason that our sleep tight doesn't have chamomile is that we have some customer that's allergy to like pollen, flower. So the active ingredient of our sleep tight is valerian. So there's we use valerian as a main ingredients in there. To be honest though, I hate the smell of valerian. But it does the job. Customer loves it. It actually doesn't. The yucky smell of valerian doesn't transfer into the cup though. But that's my own opinion because I don't like the smell. Right? There's some customer when I opened the tin, they were like, "Oh, this smells good." I'm like, "Really? I don't like the smell at all." But that's valerian. Is actually an ingredient in the sweet tea. Our chamomile we have in chamomile citrus is actually in tummy soother too, to keep that like soothing along with mint and ginger. But that's the reason why it's not in our sweet tea.
Right. Also, the allergy of like ragweed is a common allergy, and that is also crosses over into chamomile. But that valerian root is very sedative. It's a very strong sedative. Other strong tisanes or herbs that we've come across in our blends is sienna leaf.
Oh.
Right? So we had a detox in our line, and we kind of started...
I did go that blend though.
I know you did. I know you did. Yep.
We call Fit and Slim, I remember. If you were a short and stout fan on day one, we have this, there's a senna leaf, and it's a mixed review. Customer loves it though, but a half a mile they say, Joyce, that ingredient put me to the bathroom excessively. So that's why I pull it.
Right. So yeah, I mean, there might be a lot of like, what the term is, just not, when you think of herbalists and herbals as something that isn't powerful, and a lot of it isn't all that powerful and like immediate results, but there's a couple here examples that we're saying that there are immediate results. So that caught people by surprise enough for us to say, all right, maybe we'll keep away from the fit and slim.
Maybe what I've been thinking about, develop something for fit and slim again, but not.
Oh, I thought we could just rebrand this to like run fast to the bathroom.
No, but see, okay, there's a gimmicky blend out there that would say miracle of like, again, go back to like, this tea is gonna slim you down, it's gonna give you this, that, and it's almost look like it's very promising, and a lot of time it doesn't work, right? Again, let's go back to our philosophy. Tea is more for enjoyment of it. The side benefit is more like a side reward that you get from it, and I like to think, I like to have our customer think of tea that way, and that's how, it's not just about tea, but that's how I live my life too. It's like you just work hard, eat what healthy overall, and if you're successful in business, you get slim from the food that you eat. That's a side benefit, because if you're too focused on what is this gonna do to me, what is this gonna do to me, and then when you don't get the result that you want, then you kind of get disappointed. But if you can create something that become your habit, whether eat healthy, doing something that is healthy, over time you focus more on the enjoyment of having it, doing it, even like working every day, you enjoy what you're doing, you eat something healthy and you like what you eat, and then the health benefit that come after that, the successful successful in life that come to that is the reward. And I like to see it that way, rather than focusing on what is this going to do to me, because then your mind is just too focused on that. And then you have disappointment when it doesn't happen that way.
Right. You're looking for an immediate fix.
Right.
And most of the things, that's not the way that it works.
Right.
And what you're saying is, love what you do, love what you have, and then you're going to see yourself have health benefits, because you're going to have that in your system for a long time.
Yep.
It takes time for things to build up.
Mm-hmm.
And what I like to say too is that it takes a good 21 days, sometimes 14 days to set into a habit, but 21 days to really lock it in where you're completely used to it. And that's, when you're counting day by day by day, it feels like kind of like a long time. That's a commitment to get there. But you will have it behind you after.
And it will be
those 21
hopeless.
days.
You start to feel hopeless if you start looking at the result every day.
Right, true.
You just have just like growing plant. You just have to walk away from it. You keep watering. You have a routine. This is about creating a healthy habit. And then when it's become your habit, when it's become your routine, and establish that lifestyle, then the result is a reward. You know.
Yeah. So the only other things that I really kind of had on my list was along the flowers of chamomile. I mean, although you can grow that at your house, they're tiny, tiny daisies, so it's just not worth it to pick it.
Your mom gave me a handful of the chamomile last year because she grow herbs. She grow herbs at her house. Like I did the video about sage 2 years ago, and I give her, like, she always give me fresh sage and mint. And she also grow chamomile, right? I pick a handful of it. And guess what? I only get a teaspoon when it's dry. So it's not worth it.
Right.
It's not worth it.
The others that I have on here is lavender and jasmine. So lavender goes kind of hand. So both of those are not so powerful in making you feel, but they are a big part of at least aromatherapy and calming and soothing your mind through the smell. And so they would probably work well, both of them. Especially lavender with chamomile. And also just a hint on chamomile. I didn't like chamomile at all until I was researching do-it-yourself herbal teas from your garden. And I was like, I'm going to like this chamomile and I'm going to find out a way to like it. And I was doing the research, and it was actually, I think the term chamomile is actually translates to ground apples because it grows close to the ground, and I guess it has like an apple taste.
Yeah.
So what I ended up doing was like cutting some apples, adding some cinnamon into a chamomile infusion, and that makes it delicious. So
Do you know, like, actually it's funny you go along that route because of the name, but actually there are a lot of blend that bring in I forgot what brand, but it's one of the popular brand of some of the national brand out there that's developed this blend that have like apples and chamomile. So I have a customer that come in and ask for that too. Just like, and that's the thing, if someone don't like chamomile straight up, because chamomile has like very light flavor too, having a little bit of apple, dry piece of apple, and apple is used in a lot of base for the fruit blends. Along with hibiscus, so you get something with hibiscus that is just red, but hibiscus is also have a strong sour punch to it, where a lot of time apple is also used as a base. So say if it's like low acid, kind of blend, less sour, a lot of time dry apples are used as a base for that. And there's we have customer that will request a house blend of that, and a lot of time this is the thing. It's just so, like, we have a lot of customers come in and will say, I bought this tea from here and there, they closed the shop, they're no longer there, or I went to this country, I bought a tea, can you pair it? I would take that challenge. And it's like, a lot of time, it might not be 100% because our ingredients is different, or the ratio is different. I can't always tell by the name of, like if you give me the name, I can't tell exactly, but it would help if I get to smell the blend and even to taste even a teaspoon if you have left, and I can do that blend to try to pair it. And a lot of time, like I am at 80-90% success rate, to do that. So it's not a silly question, because this past week I had a customer too, so humble, and she said, this is a silly question. It's very, like, I feel embarrassed to ask, but do you think you can create somebody? Like, oh dear, sorry, no, that's fine. You're not the only one who asked me. It's a young girl in her 20s. So I was like, yeah, bring it on. I'll be happy to do it. So I do a lot of like blend, custom blend, and chamomile and apples are one. But I like your idea of cinnamon too. A little dash of cinnamon would do well with it too.
Yep. So I got a question for you. My question is, Thai lemongrass has a different flavor than lemongrass that you get dried, and it's also different than. Is it different than what you get fresh at an Asian market?
I think just like tea, right? Just like apples, right? There's different variety, like mango. There's some mango that is more sour than the other one, some is sweeter than the other one, right? And I can only come to think that lemongrass has that different cultivar, different variety of it too. And we get our lemongrass straight from one of the farm that we visit every few years. They happen to grow lemongrass, and in Thai word, she used the word hom, which means good smell lemongrass. So I wonder if that's just the cultivar of that type, because her lemongrass is double, the smell is like a double potency than a regular lemongrass. If I buy lemongrass off any supplier around here, I put it in water. You have a subtle smell of like lemony flavor, but boy, when I put the Thai lemongrass in, it's double the strength. So I use that in the blend. Now I cut down the ingredients in half. It's a little more expensive, but you don't need a lot into it, and it has such a nice smooth aroma of the lemon. It live up to its name, lemongrass, for sure.
Yeah, so my question was about fresh grown versus dry.
Oh, the dry one?
But you answered it great, because you even said, no, it's probably back to the varietal.
I think so.
And I have another idea along those lines too, is lavender. So I've had experience with different varieties or cultivars, which make a complete difference.
And back to lemongrass. So, see, I grew up using lemongrass in curry, right? So we never use leaves. So a lot of time here when I order, in the past when I order lemongrass from some supplier, all I get is the cut leaves. And I know that's not going to give any smell to me, because I grew up with the culture where we use the lemongrass root. So you can give up from the root all the way up to the stalk, and when it starts to branch out to be like the leaves part, my mom would make me cut all that part down. So when we do tom yum, tom yum, right? The sour soup, I would have about from the root up to where it begin to the leaves start to split, even a couple inch under that. That's where I would use in curry, because I was taught that lemongrass smell is right there. So on the leaves part, I don't smell anymore. I guess so sometimes if you're gonna buy lemongrass out there and you want something that is powerful, try the leaves. Try the root part, and it might say lemongrass leaves, so don't buy that because it doesn't smell anything. You might want to try with the roots, but again, but even that's nothing compared to the Thai lemongrass that I get.
Right.
So.
Okay. I think that's it. I think we're done for this session. The next thing we just have to do is tease what our next session is going to be. I have an idea what it could be. What if we talk about tea, a specific tea type? And I'm thinking matcha. You want to talk about matcha next time?
We can talk about matcha. I think about a couple of things with kids. How to get children to like tea. You're doing hibiscus today. That's come in my mind, because a lot of time I would have parents come in, and this is what I love about our tea shop. It welcomes every generation. We have parents with little kids, teenager, grandma. So sometimes they come in and together, but because the tea you can serve anything, any age, and we have bubble tea too and all that. But if young kids go with a new type of bubble tea, and grandma would like some pot of tea or cup of tea, we can offer that. So it's almost that's what I love about our business. And with kids, I have a lot of questions from customer. Sometimes a lot of time oh, what do you have? Apple juice? Do you have lemonade? I'm like, no, I can have something. I will have something more natural, better for them, and it's healthy, and then it's close enough, and I can even put in a little bit of honey or something that make it sweeter and more appealing to them. But yeah, that's something. But that's my early childhood background.
I think that's great. It is at craft fairs. If there's a mom who's interested in looking around, or a dad interested at the table and has some toddlers, and they're maybe a little rambunctious and a little itchy, I would say, ask the parent, can I offer them some tea? And then I'd say, it tastes like lollipops and bubble gum. Do you like lollipops and bubble gum? You do? Really? Well, then I got a tea for you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Tisane.
Yeah. It started young, right? This is a tisane, not a tea.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
So, all right.
So I think that's in our night. We
It's
should
dark
go
out,
have
so we
dinner.
gotta do dinner too.
All right.
Thanks everybody for joining us,
We'll
and
see you next time.
see you next time.
All right. Bye.